Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to another episode of Haunted Router with your favorite boy, Ben, and the man with the worst camera quality on the west and east coast of the United States. You don't know where I am, but the camera quality's awful. Jeff, and we are going to be reading a couple interesting stories from some really established horror writers today. One is super recommended, Christian Wallace. Now, I haven't ever read anything from Christian Wallace before, but he has an intense catalog of stuff. I mean, this guy's got, I don't know, enough stuff to make your mom wetter than, I don't know, what, Magic Mike showings? Something like that. There's a good joke to be made there. I just don't have the time to make it. But Christian Wallace is super recommended, super prolific writer. And then another one, this is called from the Dialect Emperor, and this is the writer who did Borrasca. This is by Rebecca Kindle, or Kingingle. I don't really know how to say her last name. It's Klingel. She is incredibly prolific. She actually wrote for a House on Haunted Hill, I think, is the TV show she wrote for on Netflix. She's like super prolific. I don't know if you ever listened to Borrasca,
Okay, yeah.
Ben.
I did not know that.
But I mean, our much more prolific channel to fight against, Creepcast, did an incredible rundown of Borrasca. So if you want to go check out Borrasca, go check it out from them. I don't think we will ever do it. That was the thing that they kicked off with. That was their big moment. I just don't think we need to read Borrasca. I never really want to read Borrasca on here. It's a very long story. There's like 5 parts. It's like 8 hours long, 10 hours long. And I just don't want to. If you've seen The Haunting by Bly Manor and Hill House are the two she did, but I don't know. I'll let Wendigo and Me Canyon handle Borrasca stuff. If you want to go check it out, make sure to go check out their channel. But there's a story eventually I want to read by her called Room 733, I think is the one recommended. But this was also really recommended, Betsy the Doll. But we'll kick it off with Kristen Wallace. I found the bunker of a prepper family who went missing 3 years ago.
Dr. Daniel Vance was a smart man. Too smart for his own good, maybe. 40 years old, a lecturer in fluid dynamics, with a mind made of shapes and numbers. No one knows why, but one day, on a whim, he crunched the numbers on the apocalypse and came to a troubling conclusion. He didn't share exactly what it was he'd deduced, but given that he immediately quit his job and liquidated his many assets, it's fair to say it wasn't positive. Swept up in the wake of this tremendous upheaval was his wife, a 24-year-old PhD student who had grown infatuated with Daniel some time before. She loved the strange bear of a man who could just as easily build a log cabin as he could explain the idiosyncrasies of an asteroid's orbit. Speaking to Daniel always left you with the profound impression he was right. So when he told her what he wanted to do, she agreed. This is the exact guy I would want to be in a cabin with during the apocalypse. If he can build a log cabin and hold a good conversation.
I mean,
no wonder, dude. Yeah, I'm in.
She says good conversation, but let's be honest.
I love Daniel already.
He knows how to work a log into a crevasse.
Yeah,
he knows how to work a log into a crevasse. He knows how to what are they, log rides? Yeah. Those log rides, those slippy, sloppy, wet log rides. He knows how to run those well and trained. He gives good penis, is what I'm saying, Ben.
He's splitting the timber out there. But we'll just. Absolutely.
Exactly, dude. He knows how to moisten up a vagina. But
how disjarring or how like discomforting would it be if you're just waiting for your big sexy lumberjack professor husband to come home and he like bursts in the door with like shopping bags full of cash and he's like, "Get the children. We've got to get the fuck out of here. I crunched the numbers."
You mean you're talking about my favorite sex fantasy? I'm like, "Oh no, Mr. Lumberjack." It's like, "Oh no, you need us to run off to the woods together? Oh my goodness, please, take me away in your burly arms."
She's like, you know how we leave during emergencies? She's like, folds her arms up and like, oh, and comes over and like picks her up.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. This is my favorite fantasy in the world. That's what I live with every night. I sit there and I'm just like, please take. I'm just kidding.
Salivating already.
Exactly, dude. I'm drooling. I'm like a dog when they see bacon strips.
15 years and 5 children later, the Vances were living in the distant woods just beyond my hometown. They were enigmatic, richer than the Pope, and extremely serious about their prepper lifestyle. But they were also funny, and easygoing, and incredibly compelling to speak to. Larger-than-life survivalists who swept into town with bizarre requests that thrilled local businesses. Vast quantities of cement, iron, lead, and steel were all shipped through the remote mountains so that the Vances could build their shelter. The advanced methods they used to keep it secret were legendary. This is literally, yeah, this is pretty fucking cool. Daniel had once spent 6 months earning the license necessary to drive HGVs up to his compound so that no one else would lay eyes on it. And on one occasion, when a company had refused his request for GPS tracker-free vehicles, he bought them out wholesale so that they had no choice.
Bro,
Is this
dude's
guy like a superhuman or something?
Dude's got Wonka money, bro. You know Wonka had
He's
mad
got
money
Wonka
for
money. He's got like Jason Momoa bod and like Stephen Hawking brain.
Yeah, no. I think this guy has like a sweatshop of Oompa Loompas making chocolate for him. 100%.
That's what it is. That's what
he doesn't pay his workers. He's like, I saved you from the jungles. I saved you from those crappy jungles where you had no food other than cacao beans, and nobody likes cacao beans unless they're like fermented.
He discovered
and done
them
right.
up in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Where he was building his compound.
He had them put on boats.
Yeah.
He had him put on boats with lots of chains, and they were crying the whole time, but he was like, get in your stupid chocolate factory, you fucking losers.
And then they started shipping strange chocolate bars out of the mountains. So when they stopped appearing in town during the pandemic, when requests for food and goods stopped and all contact was dropped, most attributed it to lockdown. They had a bunker and had spent their entire lives training to be self-sufficient in the face of civilization's collapse. Even Alexander, the youngest at just 3, was already collecting firewood as a chore and learning what local plants were edible. Dude, what the fuck?
This kid's like
most of us just assume that. Yeah, he's just like 3 years old, and he's like, how? Like when you go out there, he's like, no. Dude, like you're about to get like attacked by a wolf or some shit, and like it just catches like an arrow in the neck, and you turn around and you're like, it's baby Vance. It's baby Alexander Vance.
My baby,
like,
when she says stinky, I'm like
waddles off.
Dude, my baby says stinky, and I'm like, let's go, baby! You're not retarded! Let's go! And she's like, tinky, tinky. I'm like, Roar! I'm a great father! By the way, she's like 32.
But she doesn't know what local plants are edible, and she's not carrying around firewood.
I've raised a failure. I've raised a failure. I tried to put her. I put her in the mines one day. I just kind of left her in a mine. I think it might have been abandoned, but I was expecting some gold back, and she was gone for like 3 weeks.
You left her to pan for gold.
Yeah, dude, she was gone for 3 weeks, and when I found her, she was like just like gnawing on a dead animal. I was like, you survived. That's all that mattered. You can be in my house now, you stupid child.
She passed the test.
I know. Now she can be my daughter.
Parenting test. Yeah, there you go. Now she can bring dead animals home. So that's her chore.
Exactly. She just keeps eating them raw though, internal organs and all. It's weird.
You're like, dude, let us cook it first. Most of us just assumed that if anyone could ride out COVID without breaking a sweat, it would be the Vances. This reality turned out to be something else. When the worst came to light, we discovered that Daniel had used the pandemic as an excuse for a dry run. The family intended to spend 6 months in lockdown and essentially beta test their fallout bunker. 3 months in, and the sheriff received a distress call on the radio. Coordinates were provided by the hushed voice of a sobbing child that most assumed was Alexander, even though this was never been proven. Oh, Jesus. The police arrived and found the bunkers. Yeah. He's 3 years old and he knows how to contact the sheriff on the radio.
What a based 3-year-old. Like if my daughter's half this kid's intelligence, I think I've won as a father. I need to step up my I need to step up my dad game, bro. She doesn't even know.
Where's your little Where's your 3-year-old Aragorn at, Jeff?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. She just keeps yelling stinky, and she blows kisses, and I'm like, you're a failure.
Aw.
God, why do you suck? Like, get better.
You're like, you're never surviving in the fallout shelter.
Oh, you can eat an animal raw. Look at you. Aren't you special?
So obviously something, we don't mean to make too light of it this early in the story before we even get to the horrific parts and stuff, but like it's just really funny to me that like there were definitely still cell phones and shit like that going on, but like they had to be they don't have cell phones.
Dude,
There's no way the Vances have cell phones.
No. This was radio. This was definitely
Yes.
like HMF
Yeah.
or HMF or VHF. I don't know.
Yes,
Those are radio
now this
signals.
makes more sense to me. Because I was gonna say, like, why didn't they just call the
Well,
cops? Like,
and obviously,
but
like,
there's no way they have a cell phone.
and let's be honest. The 3-year-old has one job: go to radio, say words. I think that's super realistic. And like, was he like when we were even talking about the 3-year-old chopping wood? It's like you give him a little hatchet. They like split like something that doesn't need to be split.
Right. He comes over to the radio and he's just like, "Stinky."
Stinky, kinky.
The police arrived and found the bunker still sealed. It took hours for emergency responders to cut into the door. All the while, efforts were made to contact the family within, but to no avail. Once inside, police were left dumbfounded. There was no one to be rescued, no bodies, no survivors. There was evidence the door's locking mechanism had failed and trapped the Vances inside with no way out. But if so, where had they gone? Oh, did they fake their own death already? This is awesome. This is already heating up. Beds and cots lay everywhere with moldering yellow sheets, buckets close to hand with stains all around them. Some doors were barred, others smashed to pieces. There was even evidence of makeshift quarantines and, in places, what looked like violence. The police, usually a fantastic source of gossip, were not forthcoming until the town demanded answers, and the sheriff was forced to offer only the barest of outlines.
An outbreak of waterborne illness had struck the Vances down not long after they were locked inside and unable to seek help. Rumors of contagion were overstated, fueled by an unrelated rise of COVID. Whatever amount had killed the Vances, it was not organic in nature, no need to panic. The Vances' loved ones have been notified. The bunker was going to be demolished, and we could all put this terrible tragedy behind us.
Of course, we still had questions. 1,000 of them. Why hadn't the family called for help? They had radios, computers, smartphones too. Damn it. Alright, so my theory got shot in the head right there. Alright, they have radios,
That
computers,
smartphone
smartphones.
didn't work. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, right.
Dude, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because
Like,
everything
there's-
inside was all smashed up and stuff.
Well, no.
covered.
No. It's a concrete building underground. Cell phones don't work in
okay.
that.
No, yeah,
Like,
cut
they
the
could have
signal
ran...
off.
They could have ran Wi-Fi routers down there and maybe had cell phone with Wi-Fi, but like Wi-Fi calling. But even then, that's I mean, I don't know.
Like,
concrete. You can't even get good reception in the middle of a Walmart. How the hell do you think you're getting it in a concrete
Right
bunker?
now, I'm not getting good reception.
Yeah,
that's true. And they were way out in the mountains and stuff like that. So yeah, no way.
It was probably
totally
just they
correct
had
on
the
this.
cell phones before they went in, and then when they went in, they just like crapped out, or they had internet and like they were twiddling on Facebook, watching their loser friends die of COVID.
Yeah. They're like, didn't build a bunker.
No, you should have built a bunker. Loser! Oh, you need toilet paper?
Loser.
Why don't you have 4 pallets like I do? I prepared, you fucking loser.
Your baby just lays there and goes like goo goo gaga. He's like, watch this shit. Alexander, do a backflip.
Yep, and backflip
See?
happens.
Do a
Not a
fucking
loser
backflip.
child.
Karate chop. He just karate chops a tree down.
Yeah, exactly.
So they were survivalists, not Amish. Ugh. And where
Gross.
were they? What had happened to their bodies? We can talk all the shit we want about Amish because they're never gonna see them. Why?
Fucking Amish.
Why hadn't they simply left? Fucking Amish? Yeah, no problem at all. Why hadn't they simply left? We shouted these and more at the town meeting, but the police simply refused to comment. For most of us, the excitement lasted another week or two. until we realized we weren't getting answers anytime soon. Besides, the pandemic was in full swing, and most of us had other things to worry about. The tragic story eventually faded until it was just one of those awful things in the town's history that we didn't talk about. I was as guilty as anyone else of just forgetting about it. I certainly never expected to find the bunker out there in the woods, faded police tape still on the open door that hung wide open with scorch marks around the lock. It stood out in the middle of the woods like someone had cut a hole right in the fabric of reality, the darkness so deep and black it almost ached to look at. The sight of it made my heart drop into my stomach. It radiated pain. Does that make sense? I think some part of my lizard brain picked out details that wouldn't become apparent to me until I got closer, like the bloody finger streaks that painted the handle from where someone had scrabbled furiously at the lock without success, and the tiny viewing window that had been smashed with a hammer that still lay nearby. I needed only to glimpse it to imagine the family taking turns to stand there and scream into the woods, desperate for rescue. Oh my god! Ugh, that was some chilling imagery. Oh, dude.
Beautiful.
The
This
idea
is
of somebody
glorious.
like pinned out in the wilderness or something like that, screaming for help with no voice around at all is just horrifying thought to me. Horrifying thought.
That's honestly the biggest like fear with like a bunker in my mind. Like I've always thought like building a cool bunker would be cool, right? Your house is just chilling, you got this normal house, but then secretly inside of a closet you just got another door, and then it goes to a down cave-in room of like coolness. I've always thought that was like a really good idea, but like the locks malfunctioning and like locking you in there, that's why
Like they said, like they hypothesized about these Vance's first bunker, about their locking mechanism failing. Exactly.
Yeah, dude,
yeah.
that
But
terrifies
like you were saying,
me.
dude,
Because like you yell,
it
nobody's
does.
ever gonna hear you. You can yell as much as you want. It's like soundproof and like layers of concrete.
The idea that you built your own coffin
Mm-hmm.
and that you end up inside of it while you're still alive is
Mad unfortunate.
That's very mad unfortunate.
It's mad unfortunate, compadre. You're like, check it out, dude. I got my wall of guns, which you gotta have. I got my wall of beans, and they're like, well, what else do you have? Oh, I didn't. There's a
My wall
pillow.
of beans?
Oh, I
Yeah,
got a
there's
wall
a
of beans
pillow.
and guns. What? You want
I
more?
got like 4 books down, like
Yeah, the
portable
books.
DVD player.
Yeah, we have books for the fire. That's what you need the books for.
Fire.
You need the books for fire and to cook the beans. So they're all just different. They're all just a bunch of paperback copies of Twilight.
All of the dollar books. Under any other circumstances, I would have run. But I'd gone there looking for my dog, and my light revealed a few wet paw prints making their way down the dusty concrete tunnel. God damn.
God damn you,
Half
Fido.
Bernese, yeah, half Bernese and half collie. Ripley is the sort of dog who trembles in my arms when a storm buffets the windows, and needs his paws held when we brush him. I love him. I do not have much of a family, or a wife, or even many friends, but I have Ripley, and I could no more have turned around and gone home to an empty apartment where I would have had to sob my grief away than I could flap my arms and fly. He was my dog, and I'd raised him since he was a puppy, and I wasn't going to leave him out in those woods. I
Do you
went
think
in
when he
after
gets
him.
home? Do you think when he gets home, he's like, Ripley, believe it or not, and then he just like goes on about his day.
Every day, and he chortles and slaps his own knee, and the dog
Yeah,
doesn't even
yeah.
like raise its head up.
Yeah, that's why he doesn't have any
And
friends.
then
is
he's
he makes
like,
bad
and then he
puns
like
all the
finger
time.
guns his way
Yeah, he's
over
like-
to reheat some leftovers.
And he's like straightening his collar of rope in the middle of his house every night, and he's like, I gotta feed the dog. Hold on, let me get this off of me real quick. And
Yeah,
God, it's
yeah,
like,
he's like about to do it, and then he looks
Yeah.
at Ripley.
it's like Ricky Gervais
He's
in that
like,
Netflix
"God."
show. Every day he's just debating whether or not he has to do it, but he's got to feed the stupid dog. It's like, God, too bad I
That's
like
who this
you.
is.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
who this is. For the audience at home, the narrator is now Ricky Gervais. I didn't know what to expect, but I knew it wouldn't be good. Whatever the police had found, they'd not only kept most of the morbid details to themselves, they'd also lied. The bunker was not demolished, or even sealed off. In fact, looking at the occasional blue latex glove tossed aside and the 1 or 2 broken police issue flashlights, it seemed like the last people inside had been in a hurry to get out. Given this was where 7 people had presumably died, I assumed it was someone's job to clean it all up. But the corridor looked largely untouched. Just a few meters in, and a manic writing started to cover the walls. the desperate scrawls of a lone survivor, left there to be rediscovered like cave paintings. Most were deliberations on how to get out. Diagrams, blueprints, equations, and formulae, left by the 3-year-old, all focused on the door and the circuits responsible for its faulty lock. I instinctively assumed they belonged to Daniel, and that he'd been the last to die. What a god-awful fate for a man to out.
He ate his own son?
Yeah, dude, they ate the baby!
No. Brutal.
What a god-awful fate for a man to outlive his children.
Yeah, dude, I thought...
And yet it got worse. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, dude, he did, like, could you imagine, like, outliving your kid because you ate them? Like, oh, this is so hard on me. Why? Why did you put me in this situation, God? Just like, I'm burning another like, Twilight book. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I have to cook the meat more, but...
So he's like, awful. Why did I smoke all that weed down here? Slowly, the writing changed from equations and plans to a desperate scrawl. The same few phrases, repeated over and over.
5 doors, 5, not 6, 6, didn't make it, 6 doors, 6!
It seemed like the kind of thing you'd find in an asylum. A psychotic rambling punctuated by 6 paragraphs right at the end. Each letter was impeccably neat, and each small paragraph was topped with a beautifully drawn Christian cross.
Elliot Vance, age 15, a gifted guitarist. He liked boys, even though he thought he did not. I did not know I loved him with everything I had. He would have made a great man. Alicia Vance, aged 14, she liked to paint and shoot. She had a mother's mean streak. It would have served her well in the future. Elijah Vance, age 8, the smartest of us all.
They were all delicious.
I started with my wife because, as I said, she was a mean bitch.
Yeah, we saw it. She made a mean steak. I wrote, that's not mean streak.
Oh, is it say steak?
No.
Yeah, okay. I thought I misread it, and I'm like, oh, so she wasn't a bitch. My bad, dog. I'm sorry, Alicia.
She was a little mean. Well, she's a 14-year-old girl. Those are like some of the meanest life forms on the planet.
That's true. That's true. They are like goblin people. I feel like
fucking sicko mode all the time.
14-year-old boys just go like absolutely guerrilla mode and like fight each other, and 14-year-old girls write entire like memoirs of how they're going to ruin each other's lives over like bumping into each other in the hallway.
Yeah, they plot like a 6-year downfall plan.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's some crazy ass shit where you'll like gaslight the girl into being like, I just this by the end of it. Yeah, it's fucking wild. I've seen it happen.
It's maniacal.
I've seen it happen. These were Daniel's memorials to his family, and seeing the words lit up by my torch was a haunting insight into the overwhelming despair he'd endured. He must have realized he wouldn't get the chance to speak at his family's funerals or to write their obituaries. This was his last desperate way of making sure the world might one day know them as he did, as real people.
That she had a mean streak. God, he hated his wife.
Yeah, right.
Why were you so much like your mother?
This is how I want them to be remembered.
You were so much like your stupid mom.
She was mean, but like, yeah, that would have gotten her some places. Like, dude, I mean, he was honest. He was honest about his family.
I guess.
That's what it was. He was being brutally observant. The words marked the end of the tunnel, standing adjacent to a trap door in the ground. It was not open, but the tunnel came to a dead end immediately afterwards, and Ripley's prints disappeared at the hatch. I figured he might... Would the dog open the hatch and go in?
Okay, hold on. The hatch is closed now, but if the footprints leave up to the hatch, and then the hatch is closed, the thought could be the dog went down in the hatch, and then it closed on top of the dog. I saw you had to crash out, I'm like...
Maybe something was lurking like right there in the darkness, and as soon as the Ripley's little dog head peeked over, it was like, rah, and
gotcha, bitch,
and then bang the hatch shut.
Exactly, dude. Maybe I think it was just like old buildings and breezes and the crickety crackety of oldness, and the door just closed, like in every movie. Just unwillingness.
That could very well be it. He's like, that's just my luck.
Oh, darn.
The
Jeez.
I feared he might be in danger, but I still stopped and looked at the bunker door 20 meters behind me. The once gloomy forest looked so bright, even on this cloudy day, the air dotted with rain. A part of me felt like I was leaving the whole world behind as I began to climb the ladder down. I entered the large circular living space that was packed with furniture and little nooks and crannies. The walls were covered with folding beds and tables, and every inch was multifunctional. A dining space could become a sitting space, which in turn might be where someone slept or even exercised. It all depended on what particular bit of furniture you unfolded or unclipped or unfurled. 7 people in close quarters, nowhere near enough privacy. It made sense they went with this cluttered, overlapping use of space. But it was still a large room, bigger than most studio apartments. The guy's jealous.
Dude's like, my house is literally just a dog bed and a cot on the
Guy's
floor.
like, my house is a fucking shithole compared
He's like,
to
I have a wall of beans. I can't afford the guns, but I do have the beans, and it's just a cot and my dog. And every day I come home and I cry for 5 hours. Why do you think I'm in the middle of the woods at night?
He's out there just sobbing. Like, I paid too much! The rent's too damn high! And there were few corridors that led deeper into the earth, telling me the bunker had unseen depths. Oh, there we go, hell yeah. I looked for some sign of my dog, and soon found his trail, but this far from the rainy copse, Ripley's prints were starting to fade. After barely a few meters, they petered out vaguely in the direction of a nearby door. I wanted to follow, but stopped myself from rushing onward. It was unlikely Ripley was getting out any other way, and I'd do us no good getting myself hurt. I decided to take a look around and quickly spotted a dinner table. If I needed proof the police had not bothered with a cleanup, this was it. The plates were still out, the food rotten to a strange blackened husk. A child's hat lay across one place setting, the once creamy fleece turned a sickly green and yellow. The chairs had their backs reinforced with wooden beams fitted with long grooves so that something the width of a nail could slide into them. And on each of the cushions were foul-smelling stains that looked oddly like an ass print. That one came out of me nowhere. Ew, grimy ass prints on all of the cushions, dude. Just turn around and leave, bro. It's not gonna get better than this.
I bet he stopped to smell. I would have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
like
Alice!
Where the guy's like, it smells like ass. And then, like, it's like, ding, 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 ding.
He like, gets over there. He is like, okay, Alice. Her mom was a bitch, obviously. Oh, lumberjack. And then the last one, he's like, I'm not going to smell that one. I'm not that kind of guy.
He's like, this is a lumberjacky ass print, for sure. And I just wasn't expecting ass print in the middle of this, like, very serious... Anyway, I touched one with gloved hands, and the material... Ew! Oh, dude, he touched one of the ass prints, bro.
Dude, come on.
That's a straight-up James moment, dude. Is that a dookie-filled toilet? Let me reach my whole ass arm up in there.
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean, it's an ass print, dude. Every chair has... Like, if you sit in a chair for, like any amount of time, they have, like imprints where people have sat, so it's not like it's like juicy ass juice like molding over in the chair. It's just a butt print. And he was just like, he like looks at his hand, he like snaps the glove, and he's like, dust.
He snaps the glove.
Yeah, he snaps the glove.
No.
And he does a little taste. He just gets a little bit on his tongue. Get a little bit on his tongue. He's like, Daniel, you dirty boy.
Wait.
Yeah.
I've been fooled. It looks like ass. It smells like ass, but let's take it to the final.
Cthulhu's vagina. How did I know, Lovecraft? You snuck into another one.
Vagina in there. Dude, I just can't believe that we joked about this, and then it just comes true in the next sentence. God damn it, Ricky Gervais. I touched one with gloved hands, and the material cracked audibly. Dookie stain. Whatever it was, similar stains were on the cutlery and plates, and there were even handprints of it placed firmly on the tablecloth. At first, I thought it was blood, but that wasn't quite right. It was too contained to be from leaking blood.
The beans!
On the back of one of the chairs was It's the what?
It's the beans! It's the bean juice!
It's the beans. It's the bean juice. That's it. You're right. Okay, alright. Thank God. Okay, now we know. On the back of one of the chairs was a stain tapered exactly where a woman's waist would be, like a near-perfect silhouette. I shivered as I remembered that Miranda Vance had always been a slim woman, and wondered how she had left her imprint on the gray fabric. This dude's a weirdo.
Dude, he was
He's,
definitely
this
saw
guy is
Miranda
a
Vance once,
straight up
and bro spent
freako.
weeks on her Facebook page just rubbing one out, dude. He's like cropping her out of the pictures with her husband just so he can just feel it up real quick. He's like, he does what I do with the thumbnails. He like photoshops his face off of himself and puts it on to Daniel
The
Vance.
big buff dude.
Yeah,
He's a big calculator in his pocket.
Yeah. He's got the giant nerdy lumberjack, and it's just him.
Henry Cavill.
Yeah, it is Henry Cavill.
Guy, it's Cavill.
It is Cavill.
Yeah, okay. I get it now. Yeah, dude. Oh my god, this is so fucking funny. This is such a good story. Using my torch, I saw that these stains repeated in the oddest of places. Yes, there were some prints on beds and blankets, and even patches of floor. Okay, sorry, let me do it again. Yes, there were some on beds and blankets, and even patches of plain floor, exactly like you might expect in a room full of sick people. But why did one stain on the floor bear such a strong resemblance to a child huddled in the fetal position? And why was all the stuff over the TV remote, and on books and shelves, and board games too?
We got a
Everything
creature.
from sofa cushions. Yeah, dude. Everything from sofa cushions to DVD boxes to piles of dirty laundry were covered in the same dried brownish material that gave off a foul, coppery miasma. Dude, do you think that they like turned into spores?
No. I'm thinking like a slimy creature, like a gross
Oh,
being that drips.
like a protoplasm or something.
Yeah, dude, I'm talking like those.
Okay.
You know, it's like slimy, creepy. I'm just picturing like this like creature that's like dripping. It like showed up in the middle of their like came from the sixth door. It was like because we don't know. I think there's something to tie into that sixth door, and I think it goes to a creepy dimension, and they were all like giga blasted into that dimension where it's just all that's there is child labor and weird sex stuff. That's all that's happening.
Okay.
It's just like a lot of child labor, and that's where all the ooze comes from. It's just mildewy semen, man. That's what we're working with. I'm hoping.
I think that you're onto something, definitely. And this guy's gonna taste all of it on the way there.
Yum.
I,
I don't blame him.
I found the jigsaw. I found the jigsaw puzzle particularly baffling. Yeah, not the silhouette of the child on the floor.
Well, no, they died. We know they died.
He ignores that completely. He goes over to the jigsaw puzzle, and he's like, they didn't even separate the border pieces. These people are fucking nuts.
Yeah, dude, you got to start with the border.
Someone had set up another table with 4 chairs, all modified with the same back support as those by the dinner table. And a jigsaw had been laid out with 4 separate piles, but only one was depleted. The rest looked largely untouched, almost like someone had portioned out pieces for 3 other people who had absolutely no interest in going along with it. Maybe Daniel had tried to keep up morale while the family were sick? God help me. If that were true, I couldn't help but imagine the poor man sat there with his loved ones close to death, desperately trying to encourage them to click their own pieces into place while they faded in and out of consciousness. I think it's even more macabre than that. I think they had corpses sat up at the table. And he's like, isn't this fun, family? Isn't this fun?
While chewing on his, like, 3-year-old's leg. He's like, I didn't take your hands for a reason. Finish the fucking puzzle.
Maybe that's what it is. He just, like, Elon'd together like a flamethrower, and that's why there's all the shadows all over the floor as he just came through, and he's like, you don't want to do the puzzle? Fine!
Exactly. That's the dream. That's the dream.
Dream! Someday I want to build a flamethrower out in a bunker.
Yeah, dude.
Something about that room emanated madness, and the longer I stayed down there flicking the bright disc of light from my torch from one detail to another, the more I wanted to leave. One door had wooden beams nailed across it. One sofa had been partially disassembled. Multiple beds had been burned, and all the light bulbs had been removed and put in a box on the kitchen countertop. Looking up at the ceiling, I finally had some insight into why the police were so confident the Vances had not survived, despite never finding their bodies. Someone had jammed a human finger into one of the empty sockets, almost like they'd expected it to glow with the flick of a switch. What
was
it about this place?
That's so sick, dude. I love that the cops just left it there. Like, it was probably, melded to it. Like, it was like, I'm not fucking touching that. Like, there's no
You're like,
body.
you want to go back?
You want to go
Feel
back
free.
into... You want to go back into the hell dungeon? No, I'm good.
We could draw straws, or we could just... Nobody could go.
Last week it was the Irving's fucking dog ran off, and this week we have a family missing. We are not equipped to handle this.
We had that dog napper guy that stole the people's dog, and it's Ripley. What was it about this place that had caused the police to leave and never return? No, I wonder what.
Maybe the finger.
Not even to take that... Yeah, not even to take that finger and test it for signs of illness. Or even just to confirm who it belonged to. Who are you gonna fucking pair it with?
Dude, they saw something, bro.
7 bodies and look for a 9-fingered one.
I'm sorry, if I saw a dried semen monster, bro, I'd be like, listen, buddy, this is your territory now, bro. I'm good on that, dude. I'm good on that.
I'd be like, they never did this on CSI. I'm not doing this. This is not a thing that they would have Dave Caruso doing.
I'm not even closing the doors. You can roam in the wilderness. I don't care. Do you, brother? I don't need to know what happened to the family. I'm going home and going to sleep.
They just opened the door and shined their flashlight in, and they went, "Oh, okay," and they just shut it.
They didn't even shut it. They just left it up there. Dried semen, man.
You're right. They just left it open. They cut it open. You're right. They torched it open. They were like, "Let's get in there and figure this out."
Nah, not for me, brother. Not for me. I'm gonna go write some tickets for somebody who was going 5 over. This seems like a way better use of my time.
Some jaywalkers and some kids smoking weed down by the library. Let's go get them.
Yeah, let's throw them in jail. I don't want to deal with a dried semen monster again.
I decided it was time to hurry up and find my dog. People had died in that place, and while I'm not superstitious, I can't be the only skeptic who has done the calculations in his head and realized it costs nothing to be respectful of ghosts. That bunker was cramped, terrifying, and the air stank so bad I started to worry I'd get sick myself. It served no one any good to linger, but I'd be damned if I'd just walk away and leave Ripley to rot down there. It's not like he could climb a ladder and get out on his own, even if I wasn't entirely sure how he'd gotten down there in the first place. Summoning what little bravery I had left, I called out and broke the silence. Something which felt like a terrible taboo in that god-awful place, like screaming in a graveyard.
Ripley!
I waited, and hoped to hell I'd hear the pitter-patter of his paws on the ladder coming up. But for the longest of moments, there was only the kind of silence that makes you wonder if someone or something in the darkness is holding its breath, trying to look like just another patch of nothing, biding its time until you finally turn around and show it your back. The TV came on, with a blurt of white noise that was so loud and so sudden I cried, threw up my arms, and nearly fell backwards onto a rolled-out sleeping bag that looked like it had spent a week in the sewer. By the time I realized what had caused the noise, I could already hear a tiny rendition of Daniel Vance's voice.
I realize the issue here. I need to emphasize just a little how I understand anything that's...
I frowned at the screen as I approached. It showed a greenish infrared view of the bunker, with Daniel up front and the dinner table behind him. It was grainy and hard to see, but I could clearly tell that his family were sitting in those chairs.
Miranda was the first to fall ill. Looking back, it makes perfect sense. Miranda often went into the storage shed to fetch food for the cooking, and we found it behind one of the refrigerators. So that's shit.
One of the figures in the background slumped onto the table with a loud clank, and sent a plate spinning off onto the ground.
Shit.
Daniel muttered, as he got up and grabbed the woman by the shoulders and sat her upright.
Miranda never did like my cooking.
He snorted a laugh as he fussed with something at the back of the chair.
The rods are much better than tape. All those hours spent taping them upright to these chairs never worked, but the rods, they fit right into the spine, and with a little mortification, I can just slot them into the chairs. That way everyone is able to join on for dinner. I'm working on something similar for family game night.
Hey, he's now working on his dead family members down here in the basement.
Yeah, no. He keistered some giant rods up their asses and like taped them to to lock them to a chair, or he like tied them to a rod. So, because tying him to the chair wasn't working, because they just kept
Yeah,
nodding
yeah.
out. So what he did was he just put a rod behind him. That's why those rods were fashioned to the chairs. So
Yep. And he's still feeding them dinner and playing games with their bodies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
It's just brutal.
that's
disgusting and
Dude.
sad, really sad. I
horrible.
don't even have a good joke for this. My rod up the ass joke.
Yeah,
was
right,
about all I
right.
had, dude. That was it's
we kind of want to lighten things up here, but
Yeah,
this
that's brutal.
It's gonna get worse too.
This is gonna get gnarly.
Daniel wandered over to the camera with a grin, he lifted it from the tripod and scanned the dinner table. What I saw nearly made me drop my torch. His family were long dead. Gaunt faces, missing noses, lips that have receded to reveal awful grins. These were corpses, plain as day. Even when viewed through such a low-resolution image, the only thing that made them seem remotely alive was the way their eyes still reflected the infrared back, so that they glowed in the dark.
Oh,
And yet
God.
Daniel seemed oblivious to it all. Oh my God, man. He tousled Elliot's hair, kissed his wife on the cheek, run a hand across one young girl's shoulder, even picked up young Alexander
Oh,
from his high
Alice.
chair.
Alice was his daughter, the one that I said was a bitch. So he's both his wife
Yeah,
and he didn't even write an obituary for his wife. He was like, "Oh, she's a bitch,"
Nope.
and then he just
Nope.
like, "Up, and my daughter's a bitch too." Like that was his outlook on both of them. That was the only defining feature for both of them is they both sucked and they had a temper and mean streak.
Maybe they have to reach a certain point of decomposition before he actually, like, recognizes them as being dead.
I don't know. I
Like-
think he's definitely has them tied to chairs and they have no noses. So they're like
Yeah.
ugh.
But he's still treating them like they're kind of
Yeah,
alive
dude, it's
in
disgusting.
a way.
It's so foul.
He even picked up the young Alexander from his high chair, and I assume he coddled him. I don't know for sure because I looked away, unwilling to see the poor boy up close. Eyes averted from the screen, I couldn't help but pan my torch across to that same dinner table, and shiver as I finally realized what all those stains were. Not quite blood, but close. Liquefying flesh.
Hot.
Left alone. Oh, yeah. Yep, we'll give you a second.
That's gross. That's so disgusting. Keep going. You can keep going. I just like the thought of it's just so gross. They're just they're
He's
just
over there
doing. They're like
sniffing it.
bloating and like popping and doing all that gross stuff to dead body. No.
Where he's punching
No!
the rods into him, too.
Yeah, dude,
That's
those
where they're
rods,
leaking at.
like, those rods, if you put them inside of them, they're just, like, pulling away from it. It's like, that skin's, like, no, no, brother, no, disgusting. Like, oh, and he's, like, coddling, dude, he's, like, carrying around his son, who's, like, liquefying his arms. Nope.
Where he's like, stay in your chair, Alexander.
You're a
Punch.
good. He's like, you're a good boy. At least she's like tossing her hair as it's falling out. Ugh, gross, gnarly. Not
He's
my
like,
cup of
ropes and
tea, brother.
staples didn't work.
I think if he would have been a cannibal, I would have liked that better. Like all my jokes about cannibalism,
Yeah, right.
I think I can handle cannibalism other than smelly, decomposing corpses that you're just like playing puzzles with.
That was the light side when we were joking about them eating each other.
Yeah, cannibalism was much preferred to what we've gotten to.
Left alone for months, Daniel had not put his family's bodies to rest. Instead, he had moved them around from place to place and puppeted them, living life as if nothing had really changed. Looking at where those stains had settled, I saw a clear pattern emerge. He had put them to bed. He had set them dinner. He had propped them up to watch TV, or gave them their favorite books. They even sat there as lifeless husks, while Daniel waited for them to complete a fucking jigsaw. The idea horrified me to my core.
Back to work. It's obviously not a part of the original designs. No room on either side, not on the blueprints. Elliot didn't believe me. Why would he? I made every inch of this place, but I did not install that door in the storage on the bottom level. I checked the cameras and some of the photos I took during the build, and the wall is just blank, but the door is there, and now it must lead somewhere. I don't know when, or why it opens, but it does, and the next time I'll be ready, because I have to know what's on the other side and why it did this to us. Alone down here, often asleep at once, anything could have slit our throats and been done with it. But it didn't. It took its time, and I know why. It took our radios, computers, and phones, one by one, but none of us noticing until it was far too late. I kept telling the kids they need to take better care of their things, and even as they complained, I just assumed their phones were lying behind some shelf. Where else could they go in a locked bunker? But it wasn't the children at all. Looking back, there are so many signs. Who kept taking away the lights? Who kept draining the batteries in our torches? How long did we live with it before we finally realized we weren't alone? Was it here every step of the way? A door out of nothing that leads to nowhere, or at least most of the time, because I knew for a fact it does not always open onto a blank wall. There's something behind it, I can hear it. Shuffling around in there. Wet breath rattling in its lungs, a horrible sound I hear roaming in these halls when it thinks I am asleep.
Jesus. I listened to Daniel, fascinated by this strangely compelling rant, when movement caught my eye. An infrared camera running in the dark, its image a roiling mess of uniform noise. What was it I'd seen? I paused the tape and rewound. Squinting, I saw 2 pinpricks of light in the darkness just over Daniel's shoulder. Slowly the image resolved itself in my mind. I knew what I was seeing, and it turned my blood to ice. Miranda Vance had turned her head, and her lifeless eyes glowed as she fixed them on the back of Daniel's head.
Not even any point leaving at this stage. I'm no doctor, but that door is giving off enough radiation to, well, kill a family of 7. None of us had touched it. Being in the same room is risky, but not lethal. But given how sick we've become, it's pretty obvious our curiosity had gotten the better of us. One by one, we had all gotten too close, or maybe not. Maybe the thing on the other side had came through and did this. I don't even know. Wait, what was that?
Daniel turned, and the camera stopped recording. The image it froze on him was of a lone man, bright as a star in the camera's lens, facing off against an unknowable darkness, broken only by 6 pairs of white glowing eyes. Holy shit, dude, it's like reanimating the bodies after
Oh my god, dude, this is so good.
This is gnarly as fuck, man. It is so fucked. This narrator is like, why is he still standing here?
I don't know, dude. I don't know, but I would be petrified. I don't know if I could stop watching.
Yeah, that's true. He's probably rooted to the spot. All right, yeah, this is blowing my mind.
This is really good. This is really, really good.
I became painfully aware of my position relative to the table, and I had the painful premonition that if I turned, those chairs would not be empty. I would see the Vances, all of them, Daniel as well, waiting for me. Heads turned, bodies left to rot for years in the dark. Behind me, something shifted. It breathed. Loud, quick. I knew what it was. I knew. It came at me so fast that when I felt something hot and wet touch my hand, I screamed, only for the presence to suddenly recoil. But then, without hesitation, it leapt at me and bore me to the ground. I wept as Lippy as
Lippy. Oh, Lippy, the dog that he.
I wept as Ripley licked my face. What a tongue twister. I
know,
wept
dude.
as Ripley ricked my face.
Yeah, see, you're in trouble because I thought we added a new dog into the mix. I'm like, Lippy. Lippy sounds like the type of dog I would take home.
Fucking idiot. I'm so stupid. He was shivering, and worst of all, silent, which was not normal. He was not a quiet dog, not when greeting me, and not when excited like he was now. But whatever he'd seen down there, he clung to me and dug his paws into my shoulders like he wanted to be cradled over the shoulder. Something he has been too big to do for years.
Oh, you fucking idiot.
I cooed in a soft whisper. I'm messing up now all over. And even in the dark, I could feel his tail wagging. Joking aside, I felt nothing but relief at finding him.
Let's get the hell out of here.
I picked him up, straining a little under the weight, but refusing to give in to tired muscles, and made for the ladder. It wasn't easy climbing the 3 or 4 rungs to the hatch, but I managed it and gave the hatch a shove. First one hand, then two. Again and again, with everything I had, but still that hatch refused to budge.
Shit!
I cried, while pounding at it with my fists, but all I achieved was a sore wrist. The hatch had jammed when, somehow, the handle had been snapped clean off. Oh, Jesus. Right,
No.
screwed, boy. Oh my god.
He's cooked, brother.
Now I'd need a pair of pliers or something to cut through the metal bar locking it shut. My fingers couldn't move, nor could I brute force the hatch open. The metal bar was an inch thick, and at the very least, I'd need some tools to get at it from this side.
At least it's flexible.
I thought, as I climbed back down and caught my breath. On one wall I noticed a simple diagram of the bunker made in chalk. It had 3 floors. The bottom was storage. Daniel had mentioned that before, and I noticed that he had drawn through it with a large red X, and the top floor was labeled quarters, where I stood now. But the middle floor was labeled workshops, and it was where I'd realized that would find what I needed. There was one door that opened onto a concrete stairwell, and standing at the top, I shone my light down the spiraling guardrails, unsure of what it was I hoped to see. There were only harsh shadows and the sense of something foul rising up in the air, a smell that tickled my throat and burned a little in my lungs. Had the police even gone down this far? Had they seen what I'd seen on that TV and just left? Somehow I thought it was unlikely that had been enough to send the entire sheriff's department running. So was it something else that had done it? Something that had been enough to terrify dozens of armed men. Something that was almost definitely down there.
The door.
I went down quietly. At first I'd considered leaving Ripley behind, but after losing him the first time I decided I'd rather risk it to just know he was right next to me. Besides, he was being quieter than I was, and I didn't feel much like going down those stairs on my own. He accompanied me with only the quiet click-clack of his paws on concrete, a sound I found deeply comforting as I barely managed to keep my torch from shaking in my hand and breathing steady. Down one floor, and I found the workshop exactly as you might expect. A large space filled with generators and fuel and water tanks and boilers and heaters and pretty much anything and everything you'd need to survive, but which you couldn't put outside due to fallout. Wires, pipes, and tubes ran down from one end of the room to the other, and even years later, most of the machinery still hummed in the pitch-black emptiness, an idea I found deeply unsettling. Yeah, that's not a good sign. Taking one look at that strange tangle of harsh shapes and industrial figures looming out of the walls and floor, I shivered and looked around, quickly finding a small area Daniel had cordoned off for his own use. About a fifth of the total floor space, there was a large workbench and some seriously high-end machining equipment, all very well used. Lathes, buzzsaws, drills, belt sanders, welding torches, everything a man needed to do it himself. And Daniel had been busy. I'm not sure exactly what it was he'd been working, but there was an arm on the bench. It sat atop a pile of papers that had slowly turned brown over the years until the whole thing looked like it had been soaked in tobacco spit. On the whiteboard was a faded but still visible diagram of what looked to me like a ball and socket joint. I thought of the tape, of Daniel's little mechanism to keep his family upright, and then looked at the arm and suppressed a momentary gag reflex. I don't know if Dan had been working on those posable limbs, or just a way to put the decomposing remains back together after they'd started to fall apart, but the size of the arm suggested a preteen child, and he'd left it out on the surface, like it was a disassembled clock. It was also missing a finger.
Just how crazy was he?
I wondered as I pinched my nose with one hand and began overturning boxes looking for a hefty pair of pliers, or maybe a hacksaw. Ripley backed away from the noise, but once I made sure he wasn't going anywhere, I carried on grabbing and pulling at box after box, hoping I'd find what I was looking for. Anything to break that fucking metal bar. In the end, I managed to get a pair of bolt cutters, a crowbar, and a heavy-duty pair of pliers. One went in my pocket, one went down the back of my jeans, and the other was clutched in my fist, too large to be tucked away in my clothes. The bolt cutters felt hefty in my hand, which was a bit of a comfort, but that feeling didn't last long. Something moved in the darkness, out there in the twisted jungle of shadows cast by all those pipes and wires that ran from one machine to the next. A figure moved, thin but unmistakably human in its outline. I couldn't help but remember what I'd seen on that tape. Surely it couldn't have been real. Maybe Daniel had rigged something up. Some fishing wire and a motor, maybe? The idea that those bodies had been moving on their own. I couldn't be sure of that, could I? It was a frightening idea, one my mind had latched on to out of sheer panic. That was all. And then I saw them. A pair of white pinpricks reflecting back at me from the depths of that cluttered room. Ripley already behind me, head nuzzled into my leg, pushed even closer against me, and let out a barely audible whine under his breath. The behavior of a dog who was terrified, close to pissing himself with fear.
Just a bit of metal,
I told myself, as the light shook so violently in my hand I struggled to see straight.
just 2 shiny bits of metal.
They blinked and began to come towards me. If I had any doubts left, they were dispersed by the sight of a pale white hand emerging into the light. Oh God, I'm terrified, dude. Hold me, Jeff.
This is pretty good. I'm feeling this one, dude. The tension's here, bro.
I am feeling this too. This is really good. I ran straight to the stairs and went to climb them. He's just leaving Ripley behind.
Yeah, fuck that dog, dude. Why did you bring me down to the Manson family dungeon?
Going home alone doesn't seem so bad. No.
No.
I ran straight to the stairs and went to climb them, but only 1 or 2 steps in I saw something gripping the handrail on the top floor. A moldy clump of flesh, only just recognizable as a fist. The flesh withered until the fingers were basically bone. Without meaning to, I brought my light up, out of habit, and I saw the bloated face of a hairless corpse glaring down at me. I couldn't even tell you if it had been a teenage girl or the 60-year-old Daniel. Either way, 60 years old.
6-year-old Daniel. It's a
a
60-year-old. Oh, Daniel's the dad.
60-year-old Dan?
That's an old
he's
dad.
He's supposed to be like sexy lumberjack man.
Yeah, but I mean, he's kept himself in
he's
good
a
shape.
gray fox too?
Yeah.
Bro, oh my God.
Well,
I'm popping it. Okay.
yeah, he had that little salt and pepper thing. No, he was just full gray. 60 years old is old. So yeah, I mean, it's still young and compared to me. I'm like 106, but like.
That's true.
Yeah, no, that's unfortunate.
Old man. Oh yeah. I keep feeling worse and worse about myself the more we read those. But nowhere to go. By the feel of warm fluid on the back of my leg, I could tell Ripley finally had pissed himself. An adult dog, tail between his legs, shivering like a puppy and desperate to be picked up. Wouldn't we all be? God, I needed him to just stay together for a little longer. I couldn't take him in my arms, but I couldn't leave him behind either. With nowhere to go, I ran down and entered storage. There was the temptation to stop once I hit the bottom. Down here the air was thicker, and the sounds of my breathing were muted, somehow distant. But I only had to look back up to see the 3 pairs of eyes glaring down at me. So without giving any of it much further thought, I barreled down the corridor and stumbled into a door at random. Opening it, I saw what looked like your standard storage room, only most of the shelves had been overturned, and the food left to rot on the floor. 1 or 2 shelving units were still upright though, and their shelves were covered in tall, opaque boxes that made them a fantastic hiding spot. That, I decided, would have to be where I crouched down and turned off my light. I was already inside when I realized that wasn't all that was in there. Yeah, what did you think was gonna happen?
Yeah, dude.
Man?
There's definitely another monster down there. I mean, or like grotesque, like dropping blobby, moist monsters. People.
They're just funneling him right down the stairs to the semen demon.
Yeah, the semen demon's gonna get him, bro. It's over.
The door almost looked normal. I could see why Daniel must have been confused by it, because it looked a little bit like all of the other doors down there, but it was different too. It was too tall and too wide, about 1.5 feet off the ground, and the metal rusted in its entirety, like it had aged out of sync with everything else down there. All around the jamb was a profusion of wet, soppy moss, like the kind you find hanging off trees in a swamp. And every few seconds the door would leak something strange and oily, like the kind of thing you find in a parking lot. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's semen. It's a semen monster. It's a swamp semen monster, dude. I called it.
So, it's a door It's a door that is surrounded by wet, soppy
Moss and
moss,
cum.
like tangly kind of, it's like a
Stringy.
bush maybe,
It's stringy bush
and
cum.
it's leaking fluid constantly.
This is a cream pie door. This is the cream pie door. This is my favorite kind of doors. I like when they're like fully full of cream. It's the best type of tasty treat. You're walking through the store. You see like like Oasis cookies, whatchamacallits, and then cream pie. What are you buying? Huh, come on, what are you doing? What are you doing, big dog? You're buying the cream pie.
Dude.
So I would have already gone in the cream pie door.
He's gonna have to go in.
Yeah, you got to go in the cream pie
Like,
door.
of course, that wasn't too strange in itself, but the leak was horizontal.
Yeah.
Horizontal. How is that not strange? Everybody's got a weird bush door at their house.
Yeah, dude, I have a weird bush door in my house. I like it. I keep it that way because it turns me on in a really special way. I walk to the back of my house and I'm like, "Hey, door, how you doing, buddy? Big sexy," and I like make out with it for 30 minutes. My wife comes in, she's like, "It's bedtime." I'm like, "5 more minutes, sweetheart."
I'm covered in oil.
Yeah, dude, I'm covered in
Of
like
course.
just goopy, like Lovecraftian semen. And I wonder why my wife won't like give me a hug afterwards, but I get it. I smell salty and gross.
Alright, of course, that wasn't too strange in itself, but the leak was horizontal, defying gravity so that every few seconds a large glob of the stuff would whip across the room and slap into the wall opposite, creating a puddle about the size of a man that defied all reason. Remembering Daniel's words about radiation, I instinctively inched away from this puddle and the door on the opposite wall, backing myself into the darkest, quietest corner I could, while I pulled Ripley behind me and hoped to hell he wouldn't give me away. Once I was in there, I turned off my light and waited. Does he think he's gonna like outwait the zombies? Like they're gonna come down and like look around for a second and be like, "Let's get back to our puzzle."
I have
No,
one
they don't have
solution
anything
for
else
this.
going on.
I have one solution for this. Eat all that moldy food and then just die of being too sick. That is
Yeah,
my
you just dive in at this point.
dude. I would just give up. I would be like, all right, you won. You got me. You got me.
Like, what do
I
you
give it a
think,
good
Ripley?
run. I ran the opposite direction of the terror. I thought that was a good idea. Now I am stuck between Seaman Door and Squiggly Wiggly Man. I think this is, we just call it even here. We call it even here, guys. And do we shake on it? I don't know. Dab it up. I don't know what we do here, brother. I need to leave though. Could I please go home? I would try to reason with them. I feel like these are reasonable people. I think if they listen to the things I have to say, they'd be like, "Hey, you're good to go, compadre."
I like to think of these sometimes as written as like series, even when they're not. And this is definitely like where like the break would be, where he's like,
Yeah.
"And now I'm crouched. You're behind the
Yeah, exactly.
Here's my dog.
Yeah.
We'll update soon."
Dude, the camera pans out. It's just Daniel behind the door, just jerking it. Like he's not jerking anything. The dick is long rotted off, but he's just slapping his like pelvis, or like that's
Yes, and every few seconds, some whaley shit just materializes and flings across the room.
exactly. That's what I think is happening.
He needs to go through the glory hole. I want to see him go through. I must have taken longer than I'd thought to find this hiding spot, because it was barely 2 seconds later when a few figures entered the room. God damn it. It was pitch black after I'd turned off my torch, but they made enough noise to let me know that at least 2 of them had stumbled in after me. I stayed there, unable to see anything, not sure if they were heading straight for me or just getting ready to leave, forced to hold out and let luck decide my fate. When I finally heard something scrape against the wall barely 2 feet from where I stood, I gave up and switched my light on, desperate to know what was coming for me. The sound had been terribly misleading. Daniel Vance was no more than 6 inches from my face.
Get out!
He hissed, from a toothless and cracked mouth. A living corpse just like the others. Somehow a flash of intelligence remained in those wide, terrified eyes. And then I heard it. The creaking of a door. And without even thinking, I turned the light and saw it on the wall. I saw it open. And behind the strange steel, there was more than just plain old concrete. Much more. I saw a raging gullet of flesh. A ringed tube of pulsing muscle, lined with teeth the size of hands. A spiraling descent into madness. Hot, fetid air washed into the room, buffeting me and the rotting corpses, all of us paralyzed by what we were seeing, even if for most of the figures beside Daniel and myself, they didn't have eyes to see with.
What the fuck?
I muttered, unable to take my eyes from the flesh tube beyond the doorway. Hell yeah.
Oh god, dude, this is so good. Oh, this is like our first body horror thing, dude. This is, oh my god, dude. We got,
and it's kind of cosmic too.
Yeah, we got
it's
cosmic.
A little bit cosmic at the same time.
We got cosmic cum mouth, bro. We got cosmic cum mouth, dude. This is so
just straight
good.
Up vagina. This is the vagina.
This is vagina with teeth. This is vagina time teeth. Yeah, you're right.
Yes.
Silent
Hill 2, I can't even see straight.
Yeah, I've never played Silent Hill 2. You bring it up. You always bring up Silent Hill 2. I've never played it. I do,
because everything that we read has a giant vagina monster in it.
Well, I mean, come on. Everything's a giant vagina monster if you think about it hard enough.
You're right, to me. You're right.
Yeah,
That's
dude,
exactly right. Maybe
every
I'm
time...
more Silent Hill 2 than I want.
yeah, you just cut out there. I think your mic self-censored. Your mic self-censored is like, listen, dude, listen.
It did. It was like, let's not say that.
You're saying too much stuff about vaginas, and we all know you were a proud homosexual man, like, Ben.
Mm-hmm. That's why I read so good.
Oh yeah, dude, it's the gay in you. I knew it.
It's coming.
This voice wasn't Daniel's.
No, you skipped a whole paragraph. I say it's coming twice. Daniel whispered.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
Daniel whispered as he grabbed me with one fist.
Are you trying to prove that you're straight right now? You're like, oh no, I see.
I can't read.
I couldn't read. Oh no, you got me, dude. I actually like vagina. My bad, pimp. Oh no.
Stammers. That's why I just throw in the occasional stammer.
Yeah.
Daniel, call him act. Daniel whispered as he grabbed me with one fist and hurled me out of the room. I hit the floor with and skidded along the slick fluid left by the Vance's footprints.
Based.
The smell of which turned my stomach. Perhaps the worst detail was that it was cold. I don't know why. I just expected whatever oozed out of them to be feverishly hot, but it wasn't. It soaked my shirt like I'd fallen into a muddy puddle.
It's coming.
This voice wasn't Daniel's. I couldn't say for sure, but it sounded like a child's whisper.
Oh.
One by one, the bodies shuffled over to the open door and knelt before it. I don't know why, but I got the impression the others had lost pretty much everything left of their minds, but Daniel remained aware. He looked back at me once more and spoke before he pressed his head to the floor in supplication with the others.
The only thing we did wrong was being here for it to torture. It didn't need a reason. It's just an opportunity. Leave. It won't let us go. It won't even let us die. And if it catches you, it won't let you go either.
His forehead kissed the dirt. And then something reached through the door and gripped his head in its palm the way you or I might pick up an apple. In full panic, I ran over and grabbed my dog and the bolt cutters, and I ran with like my legs were pistons. Machines whose signals of exhaustion and fatigue I could not slow me down or cause me to fall. I had to move. I had to leave. The hand that grabbed Daniel, the sight of it flushed my mind clean like some kind of enema.
Yeah. Let's go, dude. I love a good enema. I put one in every night, dude, before I go to bed. I got a big bedwetting problem, so I gotta take care of that with an enema.
In the middle of these like very serious passages, he'll put like ass print or enema.
Well, let's go, dude.
It throws me for a loop when you're reading it out loud.
I love it. I love it. It's right. It gives me a pause so I can say something abhorrent and nonsensical. It's written so that I can say stupid shit. That's what it's here for.
It's like he's definitely gonna break when he reads this part, and then you guys can banter for a minute. It hurt to see the imagery play in my mind, but there was nothing else in my head echoing around except the sight of fingers with one too many knuckles and nails as large as a smartphone.
Ooh.
I reached the top floor and nearly collapsed from breathlessness, but I wouldn't let myself stay down for long. I crawled over to the ladder and climbed up and immediately went to work trying to cut the metal lock. It was hell with just one hand, the other clinging to the torch that I kept frantically pointing at the door behind me, and it wasn't long before I fumbled one too many times and dropped my only source of light.
No.
I mewed. But there was no time to look for it. I had to get out, and I had to get out fast. I couldn't see, but I was sure I could hear something climbing up those stairs. Not the steady thump-thump of human feet. No, this was different. This was a rapid pitter-patter of a spider, maybe. Something with hundreds of feet or hands or God knows what, skittering along the floor and walls and ceiling, pulling itself along with a body whose mere shape would offend God. Using all my strength, I leaned hard on the bolt cutters, and at last, the bolt gave. I threw the hatch open and got just enough ambient light to see Ripley hovering at the bottom of the ladder, growling ineffectually at the doorway. I crouched down, scooped him up, and fled up the ladder so quickly that my muscles turned to jelly at the top, and I fell over onto hands and knees. But still, I was out. The long corridor covered in writing was ahead of me, and at the very end a doorway capped now by the tired blue light of a full moon. Ripley needed no encouragement. He whipped down the corridor with canine speed, and I followed at a broken and stumbling crawl, eventually shouldering past the open door and collapsing onto the forest floor. For a few seconds, I drifted in and out of consciousness, but when I looked up and saw the canopy overhead moving, the branches backlit by a full moon, I snapped awake and glared down at something gripping my ankle. The hand had reached out of the dark and seized me and was slowly dragging me back into the earth below. Whatever it was, most of its body lurked out of sight in the shadows behind the doorway, but the hand that crushed my leg was the size of my torso, with an arm that looked like it belonged to a mole rat. I struck it with my own fist. I dug my nails in. I cried and kicked and screamed, but nothing could stop it. From behind the door, something like a face grinned and leered at me with joy. It was taking its time, sure enough, pulling me in so slowly that it gave my mind all the time in the world to appreciate the nightmare that awaited me. I think if, in that moment, you'd given me a gun, I would have shot myself, because God help me, I couldn't escape the look in Daniel's eyes. How he'd knelt to worship this thing like a man who knew that hope or pride or joy or anything with even a hint of goodness to it was so far out of reach for him it might as well be a dream. How long was this thing going to keep them down there? How long did it intend to keep me? I wept like a child, feeling like my mind was slowly cracking as I tried everything to stop that fucking hand pulling me into the shadows. I kicked at the earth. I dug into it using my hands, looking for a root or a pipe or anything to hold on to. Nothing. Nothing I did would slow it down. I was no more than a foot from the doorway when Ripley appeared.
Let's go, Ripley!
Yeah, dude. Here we go. Now, if the dog ends up getting sacrificed for this narrator, I'm gonna be so mad.
That's fine. That's fine. The dog should have been sacrificed at the beginning of the story, so it would be all good things come at an end, you know?
I think it should be Ripley that's been writing the story the whole time.
No, I honestly, this dog put him in this situation. If this dog didn't help him, I would have said, put that dog down. I'm sorry, I love animals, but like, that dog basically almost put him into sad, like, melting cult. He almost like was turned into like gobbledygook, like, I don't know what, like mole, cum hand. It had an extra knuckle, which is disgusting. Like those big fingernails that are like iPhones. All of this is just vile. Could you imagine just being like broken? You have to say hi to dad. Like he goes down there and like the Daniel's all broken. Big old Henry Cavill Daniel is like, yes, Papa, let me kiss one of your. Yeah, dude. He was like, let me kiss your gross molding fingers because I'm your little bitch. Like he's literally in a dommy mommy situation. So if that dog doesn't stop this from happening, that dog would be the worst dog ever. So I'm glad that the dog is doing something.
True. If the dog just ran away.
Yeah.
A dog afraid of hoovers and plastic bags and doors that move on their own. A dog who once stared down a particularly feisty rabbit who stopped mid-chase and turned around, baffling the predator on its tail. A dog you couldn't even watch scary movies around. And he lunged at that arm like he was a wolf, like he'd always been one. And while he didn't quite break the skin, the pressure was enough to make the thing's grip weaken, and I slid my leg out. Unable to stand, I knelt and grabbed the dog and pulled as hard as I could, and now that fucking thing bled at last, as the pressure of the jaws and the sliding teeth ripped into its flesh. Together, at last, Ripley and I were let go, and sent rolling backwards head over heels. I wasted no time waiting or looking or processing. I heaved the dog to my chest and crawled until I passed out, making it maybe half a kilometer away. Only when I could no longer see the door did I let myself fall to the ground face first, and gave up consciousness. The doctors said I had pneumonia, which I suppose made some kind of sense. I might have even believed them were it not for the sheriff's visit, asking strange questions of me as I lay in bed, about what I may or may not have seen. I dismissed them to the best of my ability. I wasn't interested in chasing that particular nightmare down, figuring out if it had been real or not, at least not while I lay there half drowning in my own infection. To be fair, I had at least some sympathy for why the police had done so little to seal that place off. I have, on occasion, thought about going and doing the job myself, but to this day I still have nightmares about being pulled into the dark beyond that door. Not just the bunker door, the one I narrowly avoided at the end, but the one below. What I saw was a kind of madness, I'm sure of it, and I often think of Daniel's words.
It didn't need a reason, just an opportunity.
Somehow the Vances were that opportunity. Maybe they built their bunker on a ley line, or a weak spot between dimensions, or a site of former satanic rituals. I'm not sure it even matters. They went down into the dark thinking it'd be a safe place to wait out the world's troubles, but something had been down there waiting for them, waiting for a chance to get at a family of 7 people, to lock them in and deprive them of escape, and slowly take from them everything it could. I've moved since then. Couldn't help it. It wasn't just the memories, you see. It was the shortwave radio I kept from my basement. Something my father passed on to me when I was just a boy. God, I'd forgotten about it. At least until I woke up one day to the sound of it blaring white noise down in the dark. And buried in that sound was the faint whispering of a man, his voice barely recognizable, but unmistakably his.
Let them go! Let them go! Let them go! Let them go!
Dude.
So good. So good, dude.
Fire, it is an amazing
That was
story.
such a good story. Oh my god, that was so good. This is like, I feel very happy with the way we paired this up too, because like I was kind of worried. I still looked at this before and I saw that it was a fairly longer story, but I was like, I don't know if it's long enough for an episode, so I'm gonna pair it up with another short one that I gets recommended. I'm very happy I did this because this was a journey. This was a journey, my friend.
It was a journey. There was a lot to talk about. We had to take a few breaks, make a few jokes and stuff like that, because dude, this was like
that was brutal.
Family,
Dude,
mostly kids getting tortured for eternity by a absolutely cosmic thing. Like I don't think that any of the descriptions that it gave
it
were
justice. No,
thing at all.
Like
at
the
all.
way I pictured
like,
it was
said
like
it was from like the big hand to the hundreds of legs.
Well, hold on. Before that, we had vagina teeth muscle room, which had on the edge had like obviously the moss and stuff was like pubes, and then you had like vagina teeth mound, which is like dude a slimy meat crevasse is what I'm talking about, bro. That's enough to get me bricked up. But then to have a giant hand come out of the middle of it, like a weird tongue or hand dildo, but it had 6 knuckles. Or no, 5 knuckles up here, right? 5 knuckles.
Yep.
But 4 fingers. And the hand was big enough to have fingernails the size of a phone. And then for it to like have 6 legs later and the arm of like a ferret or what it was like a mole rat. It's weird. It's like a giant cone forearm on eyes. It's just like it's one of those things that it describes it enough to where you get an idea, but leaves enough up to your imagination where you can create this horrifying being that I probably would still have sex with. I'm not gonna lie, probably still hit it, but not at the same time.
Absolutely. I mean, this guy, he was afraid of it. That's why he didn't go down there. But if he had gone down there, I mean,
I mean,
maybe it liked him.
Yeah, maybe if Daniel would have just like had sex with it earlier, his family would still be alive. No, that was a good story. That was a really good one.
That was fantastic. A-tier story. So good. I definitely understand why this guy is as prolific as he is.
Yeah, no, this is probably. I don't know. I don't know if this beats Shattered Life, but this is up there with the best. It's easily up there.
It is up there with Shattered Life, Detective Story, and stuff like that. I really loved the Detective Story, man. I really did. I was listening to it again the other day.
It's a really good one. But all right, the next one we're gonna do is Betsy the Doll. Now this is by the other prolific writer. I figured if I was gonna do one prolific writer that I haven't done on the channel, I might as well do the other one. Now, this is a shorter one, but this comes highly recommended. But let's get right into Betsy the Doll.
Like most people, I had a fucked up childhood. Who doesn't, right? My father took off before I was born, and my mother left to care for me on her own, a skill she was sorely lacking. My mother slipped right back into the drug-addled party lifestyle she'd enjoyed before I was born, and had soon turned our 2-bedroom apartment into an opium den.
Fantastic.
For the
Great
first
parenting.
five-
I mean,
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with this.
no,
What do you-
normal household, I say. Yeah, I mean, oh, my house was an opium den. Who houses is it? Like, come on, dude. Yeah, I just
whose
picture.
house wasn't an opium den. Adapt, improvise,
Yeah,
overcome.
exactly. I just picture like
Oh.
I picture more. You ever watch that movie with Johnny Depp where he was like an opium addict and like he was like a detective? I can't even remember what it was called. It wasn't that great, but I just picture like long mustachioed Asian people sitting in the house just like, watch out, how can they wrong? And the mom's just sitting there just all not out. They got the the little cat in the corner doing the one paw thing. And oh, take the baby, little Asian baby.
Dude, that is so fucking funny to think that like it's just like a normal household. I'm actually just picturing it. I just for humor's sake, I want it to be like a 1-day transition where like the dad is like, I'm out of here. I can't take this shit anymore. And it's like empty house. And then like 12 hours later, there's just like piles of Chinese men laying in the corners, like and stuff like that.
And it looks like a dungeon, like an underground, like a business.
there's, like,
but you walk
torches and
outside,
stuff,
it's just a single wide.
Like an 80s house, like a house that was built in the 70s.
Yeah.
For the first 5 years, a lot of cars though.
Yeah, a lot of
For the
cars.
first 5 years of my life, I walked around in a confused, terrifying mist. The smoky air would flood down the hallway from our living room and slip under my bedroom door. It always seemed to linger for days. This is so hard to take seriously now that we've set this up this way.
Do you want the
Just this
wonton?
kid in there just like on opium fumes.
I mean, this is brutal, obviously brutal, but
Yeah.
like, we've painted this picture of just, you want the wonton?
We leg swept it way too early.
Yeah.
We leg swept it. Now I know now that my mother wasn't a bad person, just a victim of her addiction.
Well, still a bad person. That still doesn't make you a good person.
Yeah, that doesn't make you a good right. When she did have spare money, she would put food in the house or buy me clothes from the Goodwill. Oh, what a saint. The only pieces of furniture I had in my bedroom was a mattress set and a little blue and white toy chest.
Jesus Christ.
It's empty. Not that I had a lot of toys to put in it, of course. Just the 3 I had gotten for birthdays.
She's
One
had
was about
5
kid.
birthdays, but only
Oh.
3 toys. It's not her fault. She was a victim to
This
her
is the one where we
addiction.
looked like terrible people the whole time, but
Oh
it was awesome. One was an art kit, one was a red wagon, and the last, my pride and joy, was a doll named Betsy. Betsy was my best friend. We would have imaginary tea parties together. With nothing. They're just pantomiming. Sleep together. No, they're making the broken tea cups from the tea set.
Dude, no, they're not even. They're just like they're literally just like those opium pipes but they're broken versions of them. So they're just holding the edge of an opium pipe, handing it to it. Drink your tea. They're just sipping molten opium as children and a doll.
We would have imaginary tea parties together, sleep together, and even take baths together. Sometimes I even remember her voice. When I thought back on my conversations with the doll in adulthood, I realized that I was likely suffering from delusions, thanks to the always present butts of smoke that laid claim to the dingy hallways and drafty bedrooms of our small apartment. Still, I remember the sound of her voice, a pleasant, tingling lilt that was almost always coupled with a raucous giggle. I also remember the things that she said to me and the things she wanted me to do. She asked me to steal, usually food or pens and pencils. She wanted me to bring her forks and knives and hit the bad man who slept on our couch. It was always something, and I would always get in trouble, but she wouldn't. When I told my mother who had put me up to these games, she would scoff and shake her head, and she never believed me. Adults never do. Around my 6th birthday, I asked my mother for a birthday party. I wanted to invite the mean girls from school and serve them cake and ice cream and make them like me. I remember standing in the kitchen that day and with such hopes, having just asked the most important question of my entire life. The glass bottle of Coca-Cola I held was shaking in my nervous hands. I waited with bated breath as my mother continued putting groceries away, almost as if she hadn't heard me, but I knew she had. Finally, just as I had failed a second time to muster the courage and repeat my question, she turned around and gave me a flippant shake of her head.
Birthday party? Lord, that's ridiculous. I can't afford to feed 15 children that aren't even mine. Hell, I can barely afford to feed you. You eat like an elephant, especially for a girl your size. Or, I'm sorry, Betsy does. There's barely anything left for me to eat around here, much less a classroom of other people's brats.
My face fell as she shook her head, mumbled something else under her breath. She's like, you little bitch. And stumbled off into the living room. I heard the music go up. Then as more people walked in the door, it's Chinese music. It's like,
They're all dressed in 1800s garb, too. They're
oh, heavens, good day. It's like a mixture.
You want to have a birthday party? Oh, how
nice.
Do children like opium? Opium for the baby?
I like that she's like, we have nothing in the house for you. And then walks in the living room and like 10 people start talking.
Exactly.
So fucking based, mom.
They are here for the opium.
I barely have enough opium for all you kids. Some left. Some stayed. I never knew them either way. It simply wasn't fair. My mother threw parties all the time. What about me? I was a kid. All my friends had birthday parties, and now the mean girls at school would know I was too poor to have one, and they would tease me even more. I felt tears start to well in the corners of my eyes, and I choked back a sob while I ran to my room and slammed the door behind me. Betsy was lying on the bed and smiling. She was always smiling. Usually it made me feel better, but today it just made me angry. She kept staring at me, smiling. She was going to tell me to do something bad again.
We got a little.
This is why
Betsy's just a little dick. I mean, but like, come on, dude. Betsy's probably the only
just, like,
person
looks
keeping her
over.
alive.
That's true. That is true. This is her anchor.
Mhm.
But it is so funny that I see her like staring at the doll, and then like just like the up close camera, and you just hear like rumbling, like the pressure building in your ears, and then it's just like release the like little Mickey.
Don't eat the bunny.
She's gonna go turn all their opium into fucking
Please
the semen
go
monster
eat some
ooze.
food. Come on, Laura. You don't want to die of starvation, do ya?
Steal their needles and hide them in the toilet. This was why Mother wouldn't throw me a birthday party. It was because of all the trouble I got into because of her. No, it isn't. This was her fault. Betsy didn't have to go to school, and Betsy never got in trouble like I did. And in my young mind, I truly believed it was the doll, not my mother, who was to blame for everything. I snapped then. I screamed in indignant rage, and I threw the bottle as hard as I could at the bed. It hit Betsy on her forehead, and she fell on the floor. Good. I picked up the bottle, and I hit her again and again. I thought I heard her laugh, and I hit her harder. Then I laughed. When my rage was spent, I dragged Betsy to my toy chest and threw her in. I slammed it shut and kicked the chest against the wall. I never wanted to see Betsy again, ever. She went just straight up like Goodfellas on her, dude. She just went over and she like breaks the bottle and starts knifing her like that. I bet she sounds just like Joe Pesci. So she's like, "You stupid motherfucker!"
You
like,
stupid motherfucker! How would you take that, Betsy?
My fucking shit. She's in opium rage, dude. She's in withdrawal.
Dude,
She's just gonna need to go to the hallway and dig a couple deep breaths.
Mel Gibson's just over there sweating. Oh my god, dude. Glover's in the corner. I'm too old for this shit. I didn't sign up for this Lethal Weapon movie.
Dude, it's gonna be the little girl as the Patrooger. I never owned another doll after Betsy. About a week later, the police came, and two nice ladies took me to live in a new state, with food and toys and no drugs.
Well, that's good.
The trunk went into storage. I have a very fucking bad idea about my whole stomach just flipped. The trunk.
And what do you think? The doll's gonna come after her?
No. What if that was not a doll?
What?
What if
That's
it
her
was
mom?
What if it was like a baby?
Oh, dude. Oh, that's dark. Oh, she stabbed the baby with a broken bottle, all mob style, bro. The baby's like, oh wait, I gotta...
Oh, okay. Maybe it's not. But
I don't think it's going that dark.
Okay.
But
Okay, all right.
or I wouldn't have done the
kid
stab the
wasn't-
baby joke.
If it was like not a doll the entire time, oh my god.
Actually,
Okay.
now I kind of
It's
hope
just
it was
that
a
I
baby.
thought the police were coming to arrest the narrator.
No, they took her to a
and she
better
kept
house.
thinking like, okay, all right.
Like,
all right,
obviously
all right.
CPS
I went wait.
Like,
I
obviously
went straight up
CPS
VR
took her.
Jagerland with it.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, okay,
I mean,
okay.
like, she lives in a Chinese opium den. Of course CPS is taking her and putting her in a new home. I don't think we're having mob baby hits, but I like where your mind's at. I think it adds to the banter. It was beautiful.
It's
Beautiful
the last story with the little baby zombies fucking got to me.
You just
That was
want more
fine with me.
child death. You were
I
a
want
sick,
more- yeah,
sick
yeah.
man.
The trunk went into storage, and the wagon disappeared. I never saw my mother again. As I got older, my foster parents admitted she was in jail doing 25 years. That was fine with me. I felt nothing for her anyway. I still had nightmares because of my life with that woman. But then slowly, I began to heal. I focused on doing well in school, and I ignored my mother's letters from prison. That's what you get, bitch.
I'm
No, you don't know birthday party?
She's like, I'm so sorry for not giving you a birthday party and having all those Chinese men in the house all the time. I don't care,
Please
Mom.
put money on my books. Do you know how expensive opium is in here?
There were 5 Twinkies a pop. I can't afford one Twinkie.
Exactly.
Please put money on my card. No, Mom, you wouldn't even give me a birthday party.
He's like, she wrote me all these letters from prison, but I don't read Mandarin, so she reached out to me several times in my 20s as well, but I always declined her calls. That is, until this morning. I'm 30 now, with my own children, and a loving, honest husband. I have a beautiful house, 2 dogs, and a career as a social worker trying to make a difference for kids who had it bad like me.
Way to go.
I'm happy, I'm steady, and I'm content. Hell yeah, girl boss, dude. Not even saying that ironically. Like,
Yeah. This is like
you get over that shit and you put your fucking life together.
Yeah, dude. I like the build. This is how you build a good character. Is like she like overcoming adversity in the story. We have like it's not like she just like I always hate in a story male or female, but I know that there's goonbags out there who are gonna make this something more than it is. But I hate when a character just shows up and they don't have any like backstory or anything. They're just way too OP, and they know they're OP, so they have to tell you about how OP they are 75 fucking times. Like
exactly. They have to keep reinforcing the thing over and over again. This made me care about the narrator before it gave the character development. So
I like this. This is good writing.
So when I got a voicemail from my mother informing me she had been paroled and that she wished to speak, I decided to let her say her piece. Since the kids were home from school, I went out into our shed in the backyard to return my mother's call. The shed was the children's domain, and they used it to play in the summer. I sat on my old toy chest, which was currently being used as a tea party table, and dialed the number she had left me. 3 rings.
Hello, Laura? Hello, Mother. How are you? Oh, Laura, thank you so much for speaking to me. I know you have a life of your own now, and a family. I would love to meet them someday. I just wanted to tell you how sorry I am for everything. Mother, you are not meeting my kids ever. And since you called me, I'm going to say what I have needed to say for years. The opium, the heroin, they destroyed you. And the worst of it is that you almost took me down with you. I was 5. That was no home for a child. Honestly, I'm surprised it took you so long to get caught. I know how it seems, but I honestly know nothing. Look, it hardly matters, and I do understand why you feel that way. Why you would hate me and not want me to meet your little ones. I learned a lot about forgiveness while I was... Oh, shut the fuck up. Forgiveness while I was away, and just... Oh, Laura, I am so sorry about Betsy. Betsy?
I paused, confused.
Why would you care about her? I know, Laura. Believe me, I do. It was all my fault. The drugs, the partying, and Betsy. Oh, God. If I'd only paid attention. If I'd only known. She's gone because of me.
As my mother began to cry, I tapped my fingers on the toy box impatiently. The drugs had clearly fried her brain.
Mother.
I sighed.
And why do you even care? I know where Betsy is. Right underneath me. What are you talking about, Laura? Oh, God, where is she?
I shifted uncomfortably.
Well, Betsy's in the trunk, where she's always been.
There was a beat of stunning silence.
What do you mean your sister's in the trunk? Sister? What the hell are you talking about? Back on drugs so soon? That's a record even for you. Betsy is a goddamn doll. I locked her in my toy box a few days before you got arrested for possession. Oh, God. No, Laura, what have you done? I wasn't arrested because of the drugs, Laura. I was arrested because of Betsy's disappearance. You always called her your little doll, but we thought you knew. Oh, God. We thought you knew, Laura. No. What have you done to my baby?
My mind had gone blank, and with no emotion, I set the phone down next to me and I stood up. I could hear the muffled sound of my mother's anguished cries and feel the dark clutch of possibility in my own chest. Memories were stirring in the back of my mind, threatening to flood forward into my consciousness. They pushed against a door in my mind that had been locked so tightly for so long that I had forgotten it was even there. Was it even possible? Could the trauma and the opium really have led me to believe that a small child was actually a doll, begging for food and utensils to eat with, asking me to protect her from the bad man? No, I slowly turned around and brought my eyes down the makeshift tea party table. Surely it was too small. You couldn't fit a person in there. You couldn't. Then what about a very small, starving, emaciated child? What about her? Would she fit? Would an investigator even bother looking for a person in this chest? I knew I wouldn't. It was just too small. And I was sure we had opened the toy box at some point over the years, hadn't we? Or had something swimming in the dark recesses of my memories always stopped me. I couldn't remember ever seeing it open. I knelt down to the ground and opened the clasps. It would be better to not look. After all that I had overcome, this new life that I had earned for myself, it could all be undone by opening this toy box. I shouldn't open it. I should throw it in a landfill and forget it ever existed. I should not look inside. I opened the chest. I never had a doll. My mother could never afford to buy me one. I never had a wagon either, for that matter. But I did have a toy box. A pretty blue and white toy box. And when I was 5, I beat my little sister to death and put her in it.
Oh my god. You were right about the baby. Holy shit. Oh my god, dude. I made fun of you so bad. I made fun of you so bad for the child murder. And I had the child shaking jokes. So many child shaking jokes. I am the worst. You are a genius, my friend. You saw it all coming from the very middle of the story. And I just blamed it on the drugs. Honestly, they should have been taken away from the parents much earlier than that. Much earlier than that.
Yeah.
Like, I made a lot of jokes, but like I hate when you hear about kids having to deal with this type of stuff. It's awful.
Yeah.
It's like truly atrocious. Like the mom deserved to be like dead and rotting in jail for like her way of
either way it's the mom's fault what happened. No, you were right. Like, I was just agreeing with you. Absolutely, dude. Yeah, no, that was still the mom. Dude, her kid was fucking starving to death and high on opium all the time. And she's like, what did you do? What did you do?
Yeah.
Where was my... Like, fuck you.
I learned a lot about forgiveness.
I learned a lot about forgiveness.
Your daughter was so high, she thought her little sister was a doll.
She's like, I learned a lot about forgiveness while I was in there.
Yeah, dude, exactly.
Wait, what did you do to my baby?
Yeah.
What did you do to my...
Yeah, bro. Jesus. That was brutal. That reveal was so rough, dude. That's always rough. It's always rough. I know you called it. You called it. I'll give it to you.
Taking a supernatural route, though. I was like, okay, maybe there is something weird about the doll, and it's
I was honestly thinking it was gonna be a fun like supernatural twist, like and then the doll murders her.
Oh my god, dude!
Murders her in front of her child. What?
The doll was always smiling.
Yeah.
It's the baby sister. Every time she looked at her
older sister,
protector, older sister.
Yeah, it's really brutal. It's very brutal to think about how that kid was just thinking of her older sister every time she smiled. Go get me food, and you bring her food. So it wasn't bad things. It was literally just.
That's what I mean. But what the adults were telling her, it was bad things, though.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't your food. You don't get that. Like that type of stuff. Like she was being punished for doing the right
thing by her sister at 5. While she was, like, walking around inhaling opium smoke. Yep, brutal.
And then she, like, mercy killed her.
Yeah, not really mercy killed her. She beat
it wasn't a mercy kill, because it was like a crime of passion type thing, but, like, the kid was, like, starving to death on the bed, dude.
Yeah, awful. I had a video that, and by the time this is out, I think that video's out, or long out. It's been out for a while. But I did a video about, like, I think I called it, like, the Halo murders. And the third murder I talked about was, this is like a true story about a dad who like wrapped his baby up in a blanket, threw it in another room in like a crib, and it suffocated to death because he left it in there for 5 hours while he played like Call of Duty. And when they found that child, they found that child, and the other child that they had been laying on his back for so long that it like grown stuff. But it wasn't dead, so they saved the daughter's life. But it had growth rashes on its back because of how long it laid there. Like people like this, dude. I don't like people like this. I think they all are the worst thing ever. And like, you imagine finding out like at like 30, bro. You're like well established. You're chilling. You're living a good life, and then all of a sudden, you find out that you murdered your sibling.
It's not even fucking fair. to the
No.
narrator that this
No.
happened to them at all.
No.
Like, because through having like a good marriage, a decent living, kids that they were taking care of and stuff like that, being a social worker to help disadvantaged kids, unconsciously everything in their life was like working to make up for what had happened to
Brutal.
them and what they had done unconsciously. So like it's not even like just to put that back on her and undo all of that. Like what the fuck, man?
This is fucked one.
And-
This is a fucked one. I do have to say, I'm gonna poke a little hole. I'm gonna poke a little hole in this story from its perfection that we're glazing it. The smell from that box would have given it away a lot.
I was thinking about that too.
They would have,
there would have been a big stain at the bottom of it or
dude,
something.
when they arrested the mom and cleared out the house, there's no way.
Yeah, they would have searched the
The
entire
fact that
house.
she
They would have fucking looked up in the air vents
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stuff like that, man. Like,
When she answered the phone, I was like, fuck, dude, Ben was right, and I made fun of him so bad. Fuck this story. But then it hit me with she was still in the box, and then she put it in her kid's, like, shed, like, her kid's, like, fort as a table, and the kids never opened it. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, the kids never opened the box. Yeah,
kids
kids open every box.
Dude, my daughter
remember.
opens every single cupboard. We have to have the little, why does every parent have the little fucking lock things on every drawer? Because dude, I have a drawer that we don't keep a lock on, and we didn't put one on it because we just keep, like, little towels in there. Like, dish rags and stuff that we don't use, just because we leave those in that drawer so my daughter can pull them out and put them back in. Like, that's the whole purpose. So, and if my daughter's doing that at, like, 1, you don't think that, like, her, like, 4-year-old kids that are playing Tea Party outside didn't open the box with their dead aunt in it? Get out of here. Get out of here. That's my one hole I'm poking.
Mommy, what's this?
Mommy, what's this? It's just like...
Maybe they did. Maybe they did open the box at one point, and she was like, "Oh, that's a repressed memory, honey. Let me take that from you." And she like walked it back out there and put it in the box.
Oh,
and
that's
she's like,
Betsy
I hope
the
this
doll.
never pops back up. She's like, that's just Betsy the doll. Just go back to playing.
But
And
it's
everyone
not
was
a
just
doll.
like,
It's just a
okay.
skull.
we-
Yeah, so
can we-
there is definitely a
No,
giant
no.
hole there. I mean, it's a great reveal for a story beat, but it's like a bad, like, it's not. But I mean, the
It
story
was so good. Very
yeah.
well written too. I can see again, like both the two stories today from like prolific writers that were both very well written, had amazing plots that were like familiar enough and completely off the rails enough on both sides. Like the first story, I was kind of predicting giant slime monster was I thought they were gonna blob, dude. I thought they were gonna be like a blob, man. I was so sad that it wasn't.
It was going with so much of that body horror that I really thought that it was going to be like mushes of goop coming out of the door. There was like bones and marrow out of this fleshy mouth. And when it turned into ham,
and like he was gonna be like, I will never get sick again like this, or something like that. You know what I mean? But
it did kind of go in the more Lovecraftian direction, which I think worked for that story because it didn't just go with like more flesh pits and stuff. It hits you with the gross out in the middle and then the traditional terror at the end. So I think it worked out, but it definitely went in a different direction, I thought. And then this one,
yeah, I found a strange hole in the woods, followed it, and there was a weird door with something behind it. That's just a great story. I'm pretty much gonna be bought in every time on that one.
Yeah, me too.
And then
Betsy,
the
babies in
doll.
boxes, bro. Those are always like whenever they kill a kid, dude, it hits pretty hard. It hits pretty hard.
This author was watching Seven, and she was like, "Hold my fucking mimosa." She's
like,
watching Seven at like 8 in the morning. That's what
What's in the fucking
that's what the mom was screaming.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that was I had a feeling you were right about like the baby thing, but I thought that the social worker thing, that her getting moved to a different house, put me in a different direction because there was no way they weren't going to check that box. Right, that was my thought process. There was no way they didn't check the box and find a dead baby in it, especially if they put it.
Yeah, thinking where she didn't get like locked up, like the kid wasn't like, and then like 30 years later, I realized that I was in juvie and then moved to like prison or something like that. Yeah, like that's where I was kind of thrown for it, and I was even right. That's what I thought. I thought that she was gonna be like, I got put in the foster system, and then like she had this realization at some point that like killed the kid and that she's been like in an institution or something like that the whole time. But no, when it was like, no, they took me away, they took my toys away for a while and put them somewhere else, put me in foster care, but eventually I got my toys back and moved on with my life. That was like full
I think
like Donnie Darko.
I think
was
it
like,
would
oh,
have
this is like a whole
landed.
different story. Okay.
I think I would have had the string to pull out if it would have been like, what do you mean, Laura? That was your sister. Like that would have been the same pull away. But like having her cry on the phone and stuff, like the narcissistic piece of shit that she is funny enough.
Yeah.
But like I think it would have landed a little bit better. That's why your toys. What are you talking about? That was a doll. It's in storage. No, Laura, it's not in storage. It was.
Maybe she wrung out the rug pull just like one paragraph of dialogue too long. With with what you were saying, where she sounds like a totally narcissistic piece of shit and stuff like that. If she had just called her up and been like, we never found your sister, like, and then you know what I mean, like you were saying, like it got a little bit closer to that rug pull. Maybe it held it up just for a tiny breath before it dropped it on you.
I think if she would have,
which will get fixed in the adaptation.
Yeah, I think just having it, like the fact that she's still at the box just kind of throws me off a little bit. I mean, it's still incredible. I think it works perfectly for what it was. That was just my only thought at the end. I'm like, the box still there. We're doing that, pal. But. Still, incredible story. But yeah, that was the episode, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed 2 banger stories today. This was a bit of a longer one, but we wanted to get to both of these. They were both long enough to where I didn't think they would be. Or the Betsy one I wanted to throw in with something, and I figured the Partridge or the Prepper family one was gonna land, dude. I figured it was gonna land, and if we had 2 landing, I thought. That would be way better than what happened at 9/11. So that's what I got today. Make sure to leave a like, a comment, rate us on Spotify, and do all the things. We love you all. Have you got anything else to add, Ben?
No, keep an eye out across all of our platforms for new content coming up. I've got a new series starting soon, which by soon I mean maybe a month and a half. You might hear something from me. Any money on Patreon. All right, you got it.
If you are a horror writer, as always, dude, Haunted Router, r/Haunted Router is a place for you to post your stories. You can always post anything you want on Haunted Router. At this point, we're still kind of building it. Or, I mean, we've been building it. We've been doing this like a month now. Or we will be at 2 months when this episode airs of content. So maybe it's bigger at that point. But it might be a little bit of a chaos.
Have that. That was the other thing, though, that I wanted to say. You reminded me about we had a person post to the thing. So that we have our first user story coming up.
Yeah, we have
once they have part 2 of the series.
No, I think by the time we'll see on that. We'll see if they have part 2 done. If not, we'll. My plan is
we can serialize it too.
Because it's a pretty longer part. I was looking at it, but I'm really excited. We had that'll be the first one that was posted on the thing. We are definitely going to narrate that. This is I don't know. I'm excited for r/Haunted Router to be like this home of creepy stories where it doesn't have to be all from first person or whatever. It can just be whatever you want. You could do 2-sentence horror where it's like, my penis had wings and flew off my body. Now I have no penis. And then I'll be like, okay.
We could do that.
Yeah, that's
we'll read it. We'll read haiku horrors one day. We want a western. That's the writing prompt, people. We want a horror
western. Give us a western. And more all right. More what was the other one? The blockbuster. Give us more blockbuster.
More blockbuster. Yes, we're still calling on you for more blockbuster. And then the outro went too long. So, all right.
All right, catch you guys later.
Bye everybody.